What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So, in less than 24 hours, the playoffs will begin. The countdown has started, and we've got 2 games left to talk about, and we're going to take them on right now. Let's get it started. We've got the Chicago Bears heading down to New Orleans to face off against the Saints. Before I even start, New Orleans, guys, I have picked you to go to the Super Bowl for the last 3 years now. And you have lost in heartbreaking fashion in each of the last 3 postseasons. Don't do that again. Don't disappoint me. I had so much high hopes for you, especially last year. And you proceeded to lose to Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. Don't do that again. This is Drew Brees' last ride, most likely. I believe he's going to retire after this game. So, you guys, you need to get it done. You need to get it done. It's really Super Bowl or bust this time because Drew Brees is most likely gone after this. For me personally, I can tolerate it if you guys get to the NFC Championship game and lose in Lambeau Field to Aaron Rodgers because the Packers do have the 1 seed. Yeah, if you get to the NFC Championship game and you lose in Lambeau Field to Aaron Rodgers, I can live with that. But honestly, for you guys, it's got to be Super Bowl or bust because this is most likely Drew Brees' last year. So get it done. Do not get upset in the first round, especially not to the Chicago Bears. As for the Bears, I don't know what they do in this situation. They were not supposed to be here. How do you accidentally walk your way into the playoffs? That's not supposed to happen. They just snuck their way into the playoffs and they weren't even trying to make the playoffs. Now, how do you assess Trubisky? Can you move on from him? Especially if he wins this game. What do you do if you're Chicago? They're in such a troubling situation. They were all ready to move on from Trubisky. Next thing you know, he helps lead the team to the playoffs. Somehow. Like, what do you do if you're Chicago? This is such a crazy situation. But you know what? It is what it is. These 2 teams are going to go at it in the wildcard round, and it should be interesting. So let's get into it on the matchups. Let's start offensively. No question, Drew Brees is the better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky. I'm not even going to try that. Even an old Drew Brees, I'd take over Mitchell Trubisky. And in terms of weapons, in terms of the receiving game, other than Michael Thomas, honestly, the receiving games are pretty much similar. It's really going to come down to the run game for both of these teams when you think about it. It's going to be Kamara versus David Montgomery. Now, in terms of Kamara, we already know the situation going on. We know he's been put on the list, and they're going through that whole thing. However, it is very likely that he will play Sunday because he will, if everything goes well, then he will be available to play Sunday. He'll be able to come off the list, and he can play Sunday. So, all we got to say is, if you're a Saints fan, it's a good thing you're playing on Sunday and not Saturday. Because, oh, man, if it was Saturday, you would not have him. So it's a good chance Kamara's going to play in this game, and we'll see him on Sunday. That is a huge break right there. Oh, my God. That's scary for the Saints. If they would have ended up playing on Saturday instead of Sunday, oh, man, Kamara would not be in this game. And I just, at that point, I don't know what you do. So everything worked out. Kamara, if everything goes well, he will be playing on Sunday, so that's good. I also believe Michael Thomas is going to play in that game as well, so everything should be working well for the Saints. But overall, it's really going to come down to Kamara versus David Montgomery. Now, David Montgomery has basically been carrying this offense these last couple weeks, and he's a big reason, if not the main reason, why they're in the playoffs right now. So it's really going to come down to the running games of these 2 teams. And when we look at the matchups, I'm taking the Saints offense over the Bears offense. Defensively, it's quite close because the front 7, I'm looking at that front 7 for Chicago. That front 7 is still terrifying. They're still really solid in some cases. For the most part, I give them the edge when it comes to that. In terms of the linebackers, it's about equal. Secondaries are both questionable. I feel like I can give the edge. Overall, it's weird because I feel like in some cases I can give the edge to Chicago defensively, specifically because of their front 7. But the Saints as a unit, even though they have flaws, when they really come together and play as a unit, they play like a top 5 defense. So I feel like when they're playing their game and at that top, they're just a better defense to Chicago. So I want to give the edge to New Orleans. But at the same time, I've talked about this throughout the season. This defense is very inconsistent. One game, they will play like a top 5 defense. The next game, they will come out and play like the 2015 Saints defense. I don't know which one I'm going to get. I'm hoping that the fact that this is possibly, most likely, not even possible, most likely Drew Brees' last ride, I'm hoping that's going to motivate this defense to play like a top 5. So I'm going to give the edge to the Saints. You know, they still got Cameron Jordan there. They still got Marshawn Lattimore. They got a lot of good pieces there. All I'm going to say is that if you're the Bears, target Janoris Jenkins as much as possible in the second. Like, just throw the ball. Whoever is going one-on-one with Janoris Jenkins, throw the ball to him, Trubisky. Just do that. Just throw him the ball, and you will see results. That's the one guy you've got to target, okay? Forget about Lattimore. Don't even look towards Lattimore. Target Janoris Jenkins. That's all you've got to do, and you've got a great shot to put up some points. But overall, I'm going to give the edge defensively to the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Bears, I don't see much room for them in this game, but you can't really trust the Saints in the playoffs as of recent, so I don't know what's going to happen. Also, we know Sean Payton loves this certain man, so we will definitely see Taysom Hill in several moments of the game. I don't know what Taysom Hill is going to bring to the table in this game. I don't know what's going to happen, how he's going to be utilized. Are they just going to be like, all right, let's just use him mostly as a running guy? Or since they've had him be the quarterback and pass the football, maybe they're going to have him in passing situations like that. I don't know how they're going to utilize him. Now, in last year's playoff game against the Vikings, the way he was being utilized worked so well for them. They should have continued to do that. They had momentum when they were keeping him in. Drew Brees played horrible last year against the Vikings. Meanwhile, Taysom Hill was helping that team. He was gaining yards. He was taking it down the field. They took him out at the wrong time. I don't know how much is left to Drew Brees, but I still trust him to make the right plays, especially since he has Kamara and he can just dump it off to him. If Taysom Hill's in the game, I assume they're going to be trying to utilize him in the run game, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw the football. We've seen what he can do so far as a passer, so I think Sean Payton's somewhat comfortable with having Taysom Hill throw the football. As for the Bears, Mitchell Trubisky, man, as long as you don't turn the ball over, as long as you don't turn the ball over and you hand the ball off to David Montgomery and let him do his thing, Chicago will live with the results. At the end of the day, we'll live with whatever results given. We do not know how this game is going to go down in terms of the Bears. We don't know how that offense is going to look because, even though they low-key were one of the hottest offenses in the league, I mean, we saw what happened when they took on the Packers. When you're facing off against tough competition, we've seen this Bears team play the way we expected the Bears to play under Trubisky. So I don't know what I'm going to get. This is going to be a very interesting game. I honestly don't know how this is going to go. Here you have one team in the Bears that shouldn't even be in the playoffs, didn't want to be in the playoffs, thought they were going to move off of Trubisky, but now he's taking them to the postseason. So how do they assess them? Now they're looking at this playoff game and thinking, if this guy wins against the Saints, we might have to keep him. If he loses, that gives us an excuse to let go of him or at least seriously consider letting him go. But if he wins this game, we have to keep him. Like, what do we do at that point? I feel so bad for Bears fans. Like, you are in such a confusing time. The one time you didn't want to make the playoffs because you wanted to get away from Trubisky, and now you're in the playoffs with Trubisky, and you just don't know what the team's going to do moving forward in terms of the quarterback situation. So you got that situation. Then you got the New Orleans Saints, a team that has been considered a Super Bowl contender for the last 3+ years. And every single time they lose in heartbreaking fashion. We know what happened with the Minneapolis Miracle. Stephon Diggs gets that pass from Case Keenum a couple years back, takes it in, and it's a walk-off touchdown. Then the following year, they get to the NFC Championship game. They're at home against the Rams, and we know that terrible call that ended up happening, and they end up losing that game. Then last year they were just terrible. I mean, Drew Brees was trash. Sean Payton's play calling was atrocious and questionable as hell. I mean, that Saints team last year was embarrassing. To lose that way in overtime to Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, that had to hurt. So I don't know what I can expect from this Saints team. A team that's been losing in heartbreaking fashion versus a team that doesn't even want to be in the playoffs. What a matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, it should be interesting. I can't wait to see it go down. The way I have this game going is I'm going to pick the Saints. The Bears don't really deserve to be here. They didn't even think they was going to be here. They weren't trying to be here, but they are here. And honestly, in terms of Bears fans, I'm pretty sure a lot of them are sitting here thinking, yeah, we'd rather lose this game if we can get rid of Trubisky. We don't want to win this game and be stuck with him next year. No, the McCaskies may legitimately think about keeping this man if he wins against the Saints. We don't want him here next year. So I can see the Saints taking this. However, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on Sean Payton and his play calling and his decision making because, like, this guy in the postseason, he's been doing a lot of questionable things. I do not trust him. I'm going to pick the Saints. Score prediction. I can go 30-20. I can do a 30-20. I think they could win by 10. I think they win by double digits against the Bears. I'm going to give the Bears a solid 20 points. I think they can come up with that. I think Drew Brees is going to look solid. Not great, solid, because, he's pretty much at the end of his career. Kamara is going to continue to do his thing. Meanwhile, for the Bears, I know Montgomery's going to carry them as much as he can. I don't think Trubisky's going to turn over the ball too much. I think he's going to give up at least one turnover, but he's not going to turn over the ball too much. And the Saints are going to win this game and advance to the divisional round. With that being said, that's all I got. I cannot wait to see this matchup happen. It's going to be a crazy game, but I can't wait to see it go down. With that being said, that's all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace!